viewers and listeners, welcome once again to Salida Teleradio, where you will learn valuable lessons despite the pandemic. This is your teacher host, Ma'am Carol L. Coraje. This afternoon, you will learn about formulating claim of facts, value, and policy, a lesson from grade 10 English. Let's give the floor to our teacher broadcaster, Ma'am DANICA Abigail A. Cordero.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Carol. And hello to our dear listeners and viewers, especially to our grade 10 learners. And welcome to Salida Teleradio. I am your English teacher, Teacher DANICA, and today we will learn about how to formulate different types of claims. Claims of fact, claim of value, and claim of policy. Now, what are the things that we need to achieve after the lesson? We have 3 learning objectives for this topic. First, we need to define claim. Second, differentiate the claim of fact, policy, and value. And the third one is formulate claim of fact, policy, and value from materials presented, which is also our most essential competency for this lesson. Now, learners, how much do you know about the current events in your community? How about in our country? With all that is happening around us, we get to hear a lot of ideas and opinions from others. And sometimes, we agree or disagree with them. And that is our first task for this lesson. Let's start with the first activity. Agree or disagree. You need to watch and listen carefully to the news clip about the COVID-19 vaccination in the Philippines. And after that, you need to tell whether you agree or disagree to the statements. Are you ready? Okay, let's watch the video.
Libre, pero walang pilitan sa pagbabakuna kontra COVID-19. Sisimula ng araw yan sa Bercero gamit ang Sinovac ng China. At kung sa vaccine program ng gobyerno ka magpapabakuna, hindi ka raw pwedeng mamili ng brand ng iyong bakuna. Nakatutok si Joseph Moro.
Harry Roque nagsasabi, Pilipinas ha, nandyan na ang bakuna. Huwag namang sana ngayon pa tayo magkaka-coffee.
Excited na inanunsyo ni Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque na susunod na ang Pilipinas sa mga bansang nagbabakuna laban sa COVID-19. Kung noong Disyembre, nagsimula na ang United Kingdom at Amerika na magbakuna laban sa COVID, sa Pilipinas sa susunod na buwan na raw magbabakuna. Ang gagamiting bakuna ang Chinese vaccine na Sinovac.
Di ba sabi ko sa inyo, ilang tulog na lang? Well, ito po, literally, sa susunod na buwan, parating na po ang bakuna.
Sa Pebrero, 50,000 doses ang dadating. Madadagdagan pa yan ng 950,000 doses sa March, tig-1,000,000 doses sa Abril at Mayo at 2,000,000 doses naman sa Hunyo. Magtutuloy-tuloy ang delivery ng bakuna hanggang umabot sa 25 million doses pagsapit ng Disyembre.
The President did say, hindi ako makakaantay hanggang July. Because at that time, ang in-announce was, the Western brands are coming in July. And he said, kung ako naiinit, lalo na yung ordinaryong Pilipino.
Dati nang sinabi ng gobyerno na libre ang pagbabakuna sa mga Pilipino.
Many of us are praying that perhaps some of these vaccines can be donated. After all, we do have very close relations with China.
Ang mga lugar kung saan unang magbabakuna, lugar kung saan matataas ang kaso ng COVID-19 tulad ng National Capital Region, Cordillera Administrative Region, Region 11 at Region 4A. Ang mga unang babakunahan, frontline workers, mahihirap na senior citizen, iba pang senior citizen, ibang mga mahihirap at mga uniform personnel. Kapag dumating na ang Chinese vaccine na Sinovac sa Pebrero, ayon kay Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque, na kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na raw kung gusto niya magbabakuna gamit ang Sinovac at kung isa sa publiko ito para maitaas ang kumpiyansa ng publiko sa mga COVID-19 vaccine.
So kinakailangan mamili ang presidente kung Chino o Russia ng kanyang patuturok. Pero dahil mauuna ang Chino, baka naman po, no, naunahin niya ang Chino.
Pero ang Sinovac wala pang permiso tulad ng Emergency Use Authorization sa ating Food and Drug Administration na kailangan para magamit ito sa Pilipinas. Ang gobyerno tiwala sa Sinovac na may 91.5% efficacy rate.
It came from clinical trials in Turkey, it came from clinical trials in Indonesia, and of course, the UAE leader has already had himself vaccinated already by a Chinese vaccine as well.
Kung may ayaw sa Sinovac, may iba pang bakuna na dadating tulad ng Pfizer at AstraZeneca na ginagamit na sa Amerika at United Kingdom pero sa June at July pa ito dadating. Sabi ni Roque, wala raw pilitan sa pagbabakuna kung ayaw-ayaw pero hindi rin daw pwedeng mamili ng gusto niyong bakuna.
Wala pong pilian. Wala kasing pilitan. Pero magsasign ka ng waiver na hindi ka nagpaturok. At kapag ikaw ay merong prioridad, siyempre, mawawala prioridad mo. Sasama ka dun sa the rest of the taong bayan na nag-aantay ng bakuna.
Joseph Morong, nakatutok 24 oras.
Now, read or listen carefully to the statement and tell me whether you agree or disagree. First statement. It would be best that the Philippine government is using Sinovac vaccine against COVID-19 because our country has close relationship with China. Do you agree or disagree? Second statement. Health workers will be prioritized in the rollout of COVID-19 vaccine program. Do you agree or disagree? And lastly, the people should be given freedom to choose the brand of COVID-19 vaccine to avail. Do you agree or disagree? All right. How do you find the statements that I presented? Do you find it hard to agree or disagree? Well, some of it are less debatable, meaning it is something that most of us, but not all of us, can agree on. While there are also statements that are debatable, meaning something that draws a lot of different and opposite views. In persuasive speech, those statements are called claims. Whether the statement or the claim is debatable or less debatable, it is mandatory to find proof or evidence that will support your claim in order to convince our listeners and audience to agree or disagree with the topic. Now, on our second activity, let's get to know more about the definition of claim and its different types. Now, what is a claim? A claim is an arguable statement that or an idea that a rhetor, who is a speaker or the writer, asks an audience to accept. When we say arguable statement, it means that it requires a lot of evidences and level of thinking that extends beyond opinion and beyond the obvious. Let's just say it like this. Claim is not an opinion. A claim is more than an opinion. Because when we say opinion, it is subjective. It is something that you believe innately. While claim is something that you propose to be true. That's why if you give your claim, you should back it up with evidences or proof. Alright? Now there are actually 3 types of claims. The first type of claim is what we call claim of fact. A claim of fact is an assertion which uses facts to back it up, but for which the evidence might still be debatable. Let's look at some examples. On our previous statements, the claim of fact there is health workers are the priority of the COVID-19 vaccine program. Another example is also decreasing carbon dioxide emissions from car exhaust while slowing deforestation may help slow the process of global warming. These two claims of fact may sound true or correct. However, you still need to prove why health workers should be the first to receive the vaccine. And on the second example, you also need to provide evidences or data how limiting the car exhaust help in slowing down global warming, or maybe why deforestation is important. Well, both of the examples of claim of facts here need proof by presenting data, statistics, or scientific findings. Now, learners, do not confuse yourself in identifying the claim of fact from the actual fact. Let's have these two examples here. Let's read the first statement. The unemployment rate in the Philippines surged to 8.7% in the December quarter of 2020 from 4.5% of the same quarter of 2019 during the economic downturn caused by coronavirus crisis. This is taken from the National Statistics Office of the Philippines. And the second example is, during the COVID-19 pandemic, many businesses had closed, increasing the rate of unemployment in the country. Well, the first example is basically a fact because of the statistics or the numbers taken from the NSO. The statement itself is not a claim anymore because we cannot argue on it. It's already a fact based on the statistics given from a certain office. While the second one, if you notice, is a good example of claim of fact because you still need to provide additional evidences as to how many businesses had closed or how many unemployed people in our country during this pandemic. Since the first example is data or statistics, you can actually use the first example as a supporting evidence or as a proof for the second example, which is the claim of fact. So again, students, please read carefully the statement and you should try to identify carefully which is a claim of fact and which is already a fact or a data. So that is an example of the correct way of writing claim of fact. Now, let's go to the second type of claim, which is claim of value. When we say claim of value, it argues that something is good or bad, or that one thing is better than the other thing. Let's have some examples. AstraZeneca and Pfizer-made vaccines used by United Kingdom and USA are more effective than the Chinese-made Sinovac. Hiking the mountains is the most adventurous hobby. And US-made products are durable than those from China. In our examples, we are comparing two or more things. However, even though we compare these things, we still need proof to convince the readers why this thing is better than the other. So if you are evaluating the value of a certain thing, then you are doing now a claim of value. Now, let's have the third type of claim. The third type of claim is what we call claim of policy. A claim of policy argues that certain conditions should exist or that something should or should not be done in order to solve a problem. Let's have some examples. The people should be given freedom to choose the brand of COVID-19 to avail. The Philippine government should accelerate the COVID-19 vaccination program. The police must arrest people who do not follow the COVID protocols. The city government should order lockdown to lessen the spread of virus. Now, if you will look at the examples, we are trying to convince the readers to take a certain course of action in order to solve the issue. And as you can see, claim of policy, or if you have noticed, the claim of policy use the word should or must in order to mandate the people or to tell the people to act on something. So that is the meaning and the examples of the claim of policy. So that's it, learners. We are now done in defining the claims and its three types. Again, the claim of fact proves or disproves a statement using facts, while the claim of value tells us why one is better than the other. And the claim of policy convinces us to do a certain action. Alright, so I believe you are already familiar with the three types of claims, and I think you are now ready for our next task, which is identifying claims. The instruction is, you need to identify whether the following sentences are examples of claim of fact, claim of value, or claim of policy. Are you ready? Let's start with the first claim. The spread of African swine flu last year had caused low pork meat supply this year. What type of claim is it? The answer is claim of fact. Second claim. Strict parenting should be done to lower down the rate of teenage pregnancy in the Philippines. What type of claim is it? The answer is claim of policy. Third one. Health workers like doctors and nurses deserve a pay hike than the security officials like police and soldiers. What type of claim is it? Right. The answer is claim of value. All right, very good. Let's have the fourth claim. Students in new normal setup can choose different modes of learning. What type of claim is it? The answer is claim of fact. Okay. How about this fifth claim? Pork holiday is the best way to combat the soaring price of pork meat in the country. What type of claim is it? Okay. The answer should be claim of value. Sixth statement. The Philippines should loan money to buy enough supplies of COVID-19 vaccines. What type of claim is it? The answer is claim of policy. Okay. And lastly, it is better to vaccinate the middle-aged people first before the senior citizens. The correct answer is okay, claim of value. All right. So how was your score, learners? If you got 5 to 7 points, then it means that you understood well the lessons. If you got 3 to 4 points, then maybe a little refresher of this topic will help you. And if you got maybe 2 points below, well, don't worry. You may want to search additional readings for this topic or maybe redo the task, okay? Nonetheless, I would like to challenge you in our next activity, which serve as an evaluation for this lesson. Are you ready? Let's have our evaluation, which is formulating claims. Now, I will let you watch another news clip and you will have to create one claim of fact, one claim of value, and one claim of policy out from it. And you will be rated using a certain rubric. So here is our criteria. We have 2 criteria. First is sentence construction. I will give you 5 points if the sentence is constructed with no grammatical error, and 3 points if the sentence is constructed with few grammatical errors. And another criteria is relevance. I will give you 5 points if the sentence is constructed in line with the news clip presented, and 3 points if the sentence constructed is out of the topic from the news clip presented. Alright, are you ready? Please watch or listen carefully to this news clip.
Ang vaccine mula China ang unang posibleng mapa sa kamay ng Pilipinas sa Marso 2021. Ayon kay Vaccine Czar Carlito Galvez, malabong makakuha ang Pilipinas mula sa Pfizer sa first quarter ng 2021 dahil nauna na rito ang first world countries.
Ang most probably sa first quarter, 2 vaccines ang natin, either yung Gamaleya or yung Sinovac. But nakikita natin yung Sinovac, there are more confidence because Brazil and also Indonesia, gotten some of those, nakita natin na nag-deliver na ang China ng certain millions, 1.8 million and 1.2 million doon sa Indonesia. Meaning, the confidence is there.
Ayon kay Galvez, mga 3rd to 4th quarter pa ng 2021, makakakuha ang Pilipinas ng Pfizer. Pero malapit ang magkapirmahan ng kontrata ang China at Pilipinas para sa Sinovac.
We have three products from China. We have Sinovac, Sinopharm, and CanSino. And Sinovac and CanSino are willing to have a clinical trial here. So we might request from the Chinese government that they will increase the volumes during the clinical trial, considering that these two products are already being given the emergency use authorization by China. If we will be able to have some sort of the consummation of the contract, when we already successfully signed the contract, they can provide it after 60 days or 90 days, meaning 2 to 3 months. If we will have a signing this month, most likely we can have it March.
Wala anyang dapat ikatakot ang mga Pilipino sa bakuna na galing China.
Sinovac and the Chinese vaccines are very safe because it came from the classical inactivated virus platform.
You are willing to be vaccinated?
I'm more than willing because I've heard that they have used it to the millions of people, their armed forces, and also their frontliners.
Target ng gobyerno na makapagbakuna ng 3 milyong Pilipino ng Marso 2021 sa pangunguna ng frontliners.
Okay. I hope you watched and listened carefully to the news clip, and please take time in formulating your example of claim of fact, claim of value, and claim of policy out from it. And please don't forget to submit your answer as well to your respective English teacher. Okay, we are done with the evaluation. Let's go to our assignment. Unlike the previous task that we use news clip to formulate your own claim of fact, value, and policy, this time I will require you to read the headlines taken from news articles. And you need to create your own claim of fact, claim of value, and claim of policy out from each headline. And if you have time, you may want to search the headline or the link that I will give you for you to read the whole article. Are you ready? So here it is. Here are the headlines. First one. DepEd's urged to reinforce English as medium of instruction. Second headline. Parlades says sorry after remark versus red tag journalist. And the third headline is Palace to retailers resume selling pork. Okay, so these headlines can be searched online, all right? So if you want to read the whole article for you to create correctly your claim of fact, claim of value, and claim of policy, you may want to use the headlines and Google it so that you can read the whole news article. And that's it, learners. That is our lesson about claims and its types. As grade 10 learners, this topic will surely help you in the future when you create your correct statements for a persuasive paragraph or argumentative paragraph, or when you give your stand or speech in a debate. I hope I am able to share the best of my knowledge, and once again, this is Ma'am Danica saying, never stop learning because life never stops teaching. See you in our next session. Goodbye!
That was great! Thank you, Ma'am Danica. Thank you, viewers and listeners, for tuning in. I hope you have learned something today. Stay tuned for our next subject. Bye for now!